I like to forget that.
I say be happy with what you got.
You'll be happy. Me, I want what's coming to me.
Oh, well, what's coming to you, Tony?
The world, Chico. And everything in it.
Woo! It's the Project Mayhem set. It's your boy Marco Dang. Whoa. You know, man, we've been around this world. And I've been hearing cats, you know, they've been looking for this, looking for that, man. It's like we the Holy Grail or something, man. Y'all gotta understand. You ain't really gotta look no more, cause we bringing it right to you, live and direct. Man, Barry couldn't have said no better. Easy paper.
You can look no further. I bring like the words like a cursor. I'm not a rehearser. Yo, I'm live than EA and seen more clicks than eBay. You winning the relay, but now we about to start the marathon. Real world like Aralon. You woke up and the game was gone, and it fell into my hands. And I ain't even telling you my plans. I'm rolling with my mans. The operation is lovely. Frank Meyer, Lucky, and Bugsy. We rough like rugby. But as smooth as the Rat Pack. I went to school with rock like Jack Black, so bring on the ass cap. Cause I'm ready for stardom. Give it up from Chi-Town to Harlem, cause the niggas are starving. Let's get it on like Marvin, cause y'all niggas softer than Charmin, and I'm just so charming.
Easy paper, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, sometimes you never know what you got until it's gone. But we here right now, man. Y'all motherfuckers are still looking, man. Y'all searching high and low. But the heavyweight champion, man, Cassius Clay, he got something to say, man.
Yo, live than most. I'm butter, slide with toast. High post, don't fly, I coast. On 5 blocks, I loach. Everybody's a coach. Trying to school the greatest at the style I boast. Whoa, it's your choke on Great Dane and Lennon. Project Mayhem, witness the beginning of your ending. Rob from Crenshaw to Linden. As a Charles in the flesh, Julius Caesar, thrones I sit. Semi-auto chromes I spit. Eric Clapton, young 60s cat, yeah, that's it. I son the greatest niggas like Olu Dara, I'm that bitchin'. Nerves be twitching, raw like a bird in the kitchen. KLC, I fucks with chickens. Hold on, let me finish sipping my Hennessy, man. Look, change flows every 6 rounds. Use a sound, lay back while I school you clowns. Bada douche.
With the knockout punch. But look, we done flew this young man in live from London, England. Heathrow to O'Hare. This be my air life. Lennon. Young Lennon. Show him where it's really at, man.
It's official. If we was snakes, we would've bit you under the barrel of your pistol. Tell the world to grab a tissue, waiting for the smell to hit you. But now it's time to press the issue. It's your brain I'm trying to get to. I'm listed in my city with my foes, stitch them together like clothes. So watch you lift me right up under your nose and take me in like blows. It's the immaculate flows. Plus the name got chicks dropping their clothes. Young Lennon, I'm supposed to be all state locally. Hopefully they love me when my name rings globally. I'm supposed to see the game of how you playing blocks hopelessly. Attempts at being kings, but these puns lack loyalty. I switch my art. If the roles switch, then I play my part. I'm a modern day Bogart with about 6 cohorts. Bring the tracks apart, waiting for the movement to start. Project Mayhem's in the building and the city's on lock. We want to definitely send a shout out to our man Tone Bangs, the whole Ill Regard Drunk Unks crew, Excel, Ben City. This is Project Mayhem, representing the west side of your town. Go ill for life. So y'all ain't really gotta look no further. Y'all can find us on Cal, Division, Chicago Avenue, 16th. You can catch us in the woods. As long as you stay west. It's Mayhem. And I'm your boy Marco Dang. For Cassius Clay, Easy Paper, and Young Lennon. We out. What the world is searching for. Lowe's, Lennon's.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Right back at you. Another week for the End of the Bench podcast. I'm your host, B. We're going to have a little fun. NBA, NFL, MLB, everything is on fire right now. It's all sports all the time. We are looking at a full plate this week. Every year around this time, we get everything. We get a little bit of this. We get a little bit of that. We get a little bit of everything. We are going to talk Major League Baseball playoffs. We're going to talk NBA. You know, I've been doing a preview, each division. We're going to do the Eastern Conference South, Southern Division. And it's very interesting. A lot of these teams are not going to be in contention. We are going to look at who's important, who's not, who's doing something, who won't, who will, the players. And I've been promising on social media that I will do a top 16 players. A lot of people do top 10, top 15, top 20. I'm doing top 16. The reason I'm doing top 16 is this. There are 16 slots in the NBA playoffs. These will not be the best players in the league per se. They will be the players that I think if you add them to your team, what will happen is you will instantly get into the playoffs. HBO shut down their boxing platform. It's the end of era. We talk about 40 plus years of boxing. Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes. Some of the greatest moments in boxing history have been on HBO, home box office. Think about it. Home box office is no longer going to be hosting boxing matches. Let's talk about that a little bit. As usual, the phone lines will be open, but I want you to reach out via social media as well at the End of the Bench on Twitter. THAENDOFDABENCH. That's the name of the show. You can also find us on Facebook and as a group as well as a fan page. Hit like on the fan page, join the group, join the discussion. You can follow me directly at HRAP_B, HRAP_B. It's the End of the Bench podcast. We taking off. Now, as I stated, HBO is the end of an era. Is this the beginning and the end for boxing as we know it? Or is this just HBO bowing out before maybe they see something on the horizon that we don't? Boxing is changing. You have apps and you have all these things that ESPN is starting to put their foothold on boxing, and it could just not be an extremely lucrative prospect for HBO anymore. Either way, I do believe it is a sad moment. It's truly a sad moment, and you know, you get to see up and coming boxers, and it could potentially be the end of a sport that a lot of us have grown to love as children, grew up watching it. You know, you have people like, as I stated, the great Muhammad Ali. Some people consider him the all-time great. Larry Holmes, one of the greatest ever. Mike Tyson. We got to know people like Roy Jones Jr., both as a fighter and now as a commentator. Winky Wright. I mean, there are countless stars. Floyd Mayweather Jr., from him going from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money May. Manny Pacquiao. This is the end. This is definitely the end of a situation. Now, Showtime still has their boxing, and as I stated, ESPN still having their boxing platform. It's going to be a relatively interesting transition from Showtime to HBO. I mean, from HBO to Showtime. This is kind of weird for me. I mean, 24/7. I mean, this is a staple in the sports world, and that staple is being removed at this point. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm not really embracing that, you know, because this could be the end of something that we've enjoyed as sports fans for a very long time. Jim Lampley, more than anything, is the voice of boxing. You know, Al Bernstein, he knows boxing. A lot of these guys know boxing, but Jim Lampley, Max Kellerman, now Andre Ward, you know, and others, hello, what's up, Kim? How you doing? Welcome aboard. We have put them, they introduced us to boxing, you know, especially Jim Lampley. And this is also something that I've spoken about on a regular basis in regards to announcers. We don't have the classic sports analysis anymore. ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, TNT, and all the rest of you people who are major platforms that host sporting events. You want to know why, in my opinion, why your ratings are slipping? Because you don't have the Jim Lampley types on your programs. No, anybody can sit there and read, this guy hits this home run in this situation, and read 10,000 stats. Engage your audience, people. I believe boxing is the last bastion of actual announcers, and that's why it's probably bothering me so much. I know you guys, a lot of you guys don't listen to boxing. It's just, oh man, so what boxing is about to be, okay, whatever. We like MMA anyway. But at the end of the day, one of the major reasons I used to engage in sports is the guy who I was listening to, whether it be John Madden, Al Michaels, or whoever, Joe Garagiola, Vin Scully, in regards to baseball, Keith Jackson, college football, whoever you connected yourself with. These guys told the story of the game. They didn't just read you, oh well, this guy averaged this many points and this, that. Who cares? We can, especially with Google, you can get that. One of my homeboys, a very good brother, Brian Cook, man, he calls me from time to time, and we sit up. We will have a conversation about nothing in regards to sports for an hour. And when I mean nothing, what I mean is this. Me and Cook had a conversation for 45 minutes about if we'll ever see another Charles Barkley. Is Gary Payton a better player than Charles Barkley? We philosophical about nothing, and it was enjoyable. It's how me and that guy created a bond. Me and my son used to watch football games. I'm watching a football game for a totally different reason than him, but we both are sitting there, and those announcers engage you and they get you locked in. That's what we're going to miss when we lose boxing, people. You can tune in to the end of the bench, but we're the last of a dying breed. I'm telling you, it's the last of it. This is the first chink in the armor of real sports fans, if you ask me. Well, this is the latest and a big chunk of the last of a dying breed when it comes to sports fans. Because we have gotten caught up in the concept of this guy averages this many points in fantasy football and fantasy baseball. And don't get me wrong, man, I used to participate in the fantasy things, but ownership isn't there. You own the Bears when you live in Chicago. When you live in New York, you own the Yankees. Yeah, George Steinbrenner's name is on the deed of the team, but that's your team. Whoever owned the Dodgers, whoever owned the Baltimore Orioles, the Baltimore Ravens, the Dallas Cowboys, those dudes' names are on the team. But Steve Stone, in the minds of millions of Cubs fans, Steve Stone and Harry Carey own those damn teams, man. That's why, if you really want to know why Cub fans are from coast to coast, city to city, border to border, and from sea to sea, Steve Stone, Jack Brickhouse, Harry Carey are those reasons. Those guys made you love those guys. Like when you're a White Sox fan here in Chicago, Hawk Harrison, and even way back in the early days, Don Drysdale. Now the Wimpy, or whatever. But Hawk Harrison, you can put it on the board, those dudes engaged us. So when we lose HBO boxing, trust me, people, we're losing a piece of the sports world that we don't really want to lose. So think about it. And if you want to engage, 773-797-2409, 773-797-2409 is the number you can reach us at, as usual. But as I was stating, man, we lose a big chunk of the sports world when we do that, which leads me to a better chunk of the sports world. I'm going to start off, I usually start off with football. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go basketball. Basketball preseason started last night. We had a few games. It was looking real good, man. The Boston Celtics showed up and showed out. Gordon Hayward is looking tentative, but he's looking good. That's what's important. He was tentative as hell, and reason, understandable, man. The brother